Welcome back into Main Street Living. Quincy, Cheryl, one of the things we love to do on the show is to give a voice to someone who might be in a situation where they're feeling voiceless.
That's right. You probably have heard of the CASA, which stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. It's a volunteer program that supports and gives a voice to children who have been abused or neglected and who, through no fault of their own, find themselves involved with the child welfare system. Now, Rhode Island CASA is one of almost 950 such programs throughout the country. They're working tirelessly to ensure that vulnerable children do not fall through the cracks and, of course, fall through the cracks of a system designed to protect them. So joining us today is Rhode Island Family Court Associate Justice Lia Stuhlsatz. Welcome to Main Street Living. How are you doing today?
Oh, very well. Thank you for having me, and thank you for your interest in featuring this. It's very timely, particularly because it is Pride Month, so I'm very proud to be here. So thank you very much.
No problem. Now, Lia, how important is the organization like Rhode Island CASA to children who become involved in your state's child welfare system?
Well, it's a vital role in two ways. The volunteer can be the lifeline the child outside of court. I mean, it's an adult who's accountable to them, who's following and connecting with them on a personal level. But for my purposes as a judge on the calendar, it's the CASA volunteer who gives a voice to the child in the court proceedings. I mean, children do not typically come to court. It is an adult atmosphere. I don't think that would be appropriate and could possibly be traumatic for children. But because a CASA volunteer who's formed a connection with a child can let me know directly, based on their personal contact, how the child is feeling, what's their perspective on the decisions I'm being asked to make, what's their experience with the service providers, is there a letter they want to write to the court, is this something that a volunteer could help them with? I mean, I have sometimes a dozen adults telling me about all different aspects of the case, and it's the CASA volunteer who's helping me keep the focus on the child. And so it's a vital role. I'm so grateful when there's a volunteer on a case because I know that piece is going to be met.
Yes, I have a lot of friends who volunteer with CASA, and it definitely is wonderful, the work that they're doing. And as you mentioned, you're a judge in the family court in Rhode Island. And can you tell us a little bit about the types of cases that come before you and how they benefit from the participation of a CASA volunteer advocate?
Well, I'm assigned to the DCYF calendar, which I think most people are familiar with. This is the Child Protective Agency in our state that is tasked with removing children if they're deemed to be in harm's way, and then offering services to the family to hopefully reunify. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of trauma on that calendar. The legal decision to sanction the removal of a child may be necessary on an emergency basis, and we may feel good, the child's out of harm's way for the moment, but the work is really just beginning with that family. And these children are experiencing separation from their parents now, in addition to whatever circumstances caused the case to open in the first place. And so having an adult who's accountable to them, who's there to answer their phone call, respond to their questions and fears, even to answer questions about how their parents are doing or how their siblings are doing. Children care about how they feel. They don't care about the legal process or the labels that we put on things that come before us. They care about the experience they're having and, as a child. And so the link to connecting to those feelings and having them be part of this process is the volunteer. So their role is tremendous.
Yeah, and you speak of the volunteers. So what kinds of things can the CASA volunteer help understand about the situation a child may be experiencing?
Well, I think one of the best ways that a CASA volunteer can fulfill their role is to simply listen to the child without judgment. I mean, their family is getting all this attention from a very powerful state agency. They are everybody's focus, and yet nobody's speaking to them. And that's where the CASA volunteer fills that gap. There might be something they're afraid of or worried about, and they have a guardian who's going to make sure they get to the pediatrician and that their school plan is in place, and their parents are going to have lawyers, and the DCYF has an attorney, and there may be other guardians involved. And the person they can speak to and ask their questions of is going to be that CASA volunteer. And also, that's the person who will bring what's on their mind to my attention. I'm not saying I can always address it in the way the child wants, but it's the only way I'm going to learn about it. And I'm so relieved when I know someone's in that role for that child. It's just tremendous assistance.
Absolutely. So true. We could talk to you all day, but we are out of time. Where can our viewers go to learn more and help?
Well, I think the Friends of Rhode Island CASA.org, that will bring you right to the website, which could connect you if you wanted to volunteer. They have a wonderful training program. You don't have to be a psychologist or anything like that. You just have to care about kids and be willing to be available to a child who could use your help. So I think that's right on the screen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And of course, if you're not in Rhode Island or looking for a program in your area, you can always Google search CASA and you will be redirected to your area's CASA location. Well, lots more ahead coming up on Main Street Living. We'll tell you all about Sharing the Love musical. You don't want to miss it.